Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Virgo February 2018 horoscope forecast. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing off is as far as February goes, the sun will be in Aquarius from the 1st until the 18th. So the 6th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. So this could be a time where Virgo may really put a strong concentration of energy, focus, and attention into independence, freedom, perhaps in matters connected with employment, into their perhaps as well into their health, maybe trying to free or extricate oneself from some kind of health dilemma or some kind of health situation. And in this particular case, just about really incorporating perhaps freedom into one's daily routine and putting a lot of focus and concentration of energy and attention into that. And this is a really, could be a strong attention put into really going outside the box, so to speak, perhaps in one's employment. If this is a situation, especially if you've had where your employment situation has been somewhat monotonous, this could be the time where you might really put that focus into making it where it isn't anymore, and really just kind of going outside your ordinary realm, so to speak, as far as that goes. So anyway, well, the next thing off is, well, the sun will be in Pisces as far as February goes, from the 18th until the 28th. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. So at this time for Virgo, this could be a strong concentration of energy, focus, and attention into perhaps on idealism, compassion, perhaps shown toward others in general, a significant other, and maybe even if you're in a business partnership, this could be also a time too where I mean, sometimes Pisces can be malleable energy, and just to be careful that you're not putting this concentration of this Pisces energy into not just like, you know, blending in with the group just for, or just acting like others just for the sake of blending in. And this could also be about putting in a really concentration of energy into perhaps imagination as well. Perhaps into maybe it's in, if you're in some kind of business partnership, perhaps, and really too, this is really about strong sensitivity in matters perhaps connected with legal issues, and maybe in dealing with open adversaries. And this is really that time where you could really be a little bit more sensitive than usual on this. But also this could be, I mean, the sun could be about shining the light, so to speak, on things. It could be shining the light on perhaps an open adversary. That could be a Pisces sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply somebody that embodies those characteristics. It could be somebody that came across as someone else originally and is showing maybe their true colors, basically like a chameleon at this time. So anyway, well, the next thing up is the new moon will be in Aquarius on February 15th, so the 6 houses will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. So at this time for Virgo, this could be about perhaps a new, unusual, or unorthodox, unconventional, maybe job or some kind of employment. It could be something new you might start at, you know, as far as employment goes, that might be Aquarius-like, such as astrology, aerospace, even rocket science in some isolated cases, something with an esoteric subject. And it could be a new period perhaps of where you're getting maybe more freedom and independence in your work life. And also it could be about a new period of freedom from maybe a health dilemma or problem as well. In some cases as well, though, I don't think the new moon is necessarily always positive. It can be in many cases, but when something new happens, this could be I mean, a new health situation or problem can come, one that could be unusual. It could be something Aquarius-like, something connected with the ankles or shins, or it could even mean the moon can be about the stomach. So it could be some new, stomach issues that just kind of happen very spontaneously and are very erratic, maybe kind of comes and goes, since we're talking about Aquarius energy. Next thing up is Mercury will be in Aquarius as far as February goes, from the 1st until the 18th. So the 6th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. So at this time, this could be a period for Virgo where maybe they kind of think outside the box in terms of when they're at work, at their place of employment, and it's more ingenuity. It could even be something as simple. I mean, even if Virgo is in some kind of just regular mundane job, it could be just using more of their ingenuity to solve situations at work. It could be just like using 2 pallet jacks, for example, finding some way to use that to bring up a big piece of merchandise that you weren't able to do so with one. It just basically could be simple originality that could be incorporated in your work or in your daily routine as well. And also, I mean, keep in mind that Mercury is also, I mean, could be short journeys. So this could be about giving people, maybe short journeys, maybe people that you work with that are in your place of employment, taking them on little trips or errands and doing it with a lot of that selfless Aquarius-like energy. And it could even, and really, this also can be as well about a lot more selfless thinking into your daily routine, and really perhaps conversations about innovation and computers, electronics, talking about new ideas, perhaps with people maybe that are in your that might be in your health, figure prominently in your health life. It could be people in your daily routine, and maybe people you even work with. So anyway, next thing up is Mercury will be in Pisces as far as February goes, from the 18th until the 28th. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. So at this time for Virgo, this could be about a lot of where you're thinking more idealistically, maybe about matters with open adversaries, court situations, maybe as well, maybe about others in general and the significant other, if you do have one, if applicable. And also, at the same time, keep in mind that Mercury, and when it's in Pisces, the energy could be a little bit more gullible, and just be careful not to be duped, so to speak, by open adversaries, by somebody that's you might be in some legal battle with, and saying that for example, I'll make an out-of-court settlement with you as long as we don't go to court, and then you follow up on it, and you pay that person X amount of dollars for whatever damages, and then what happens is that person doesn't follow up on their end of the deal, and they still take you to court, as an example. So if you're going to do something like this, make sure that you're getting something in writing, or something where you have corroborating evidence, so to speak, that something like this went down, because it's very easily more to be bamboozled when the Mercury is in Pisces and fall for what other people say. Could be very deceptive energy. But at the same time, this could also be about thinking really maybe communication regarding Pisces-like things, subjects connected with the metaphysical, which can include astrology, spirituality, photography, chemistry, and it might be communicating with photography, using photography such as on the internet, perhaps with others in general, and with a significant other, perhaps if you do have one. Now, anyway, next thing up is Venus will be in Aquarius as far as February goes, from the 1st until the 10th. So the 6th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. So at this time for Virgo, this could be about expressing perhaps a love of innovation and ingenuity, love of new ideas, new concepts, in love of the unusual and orthodox, and doing so perhaps more incorporating your daily routine. It could be at your place of employment, and maybe people that might figure prominently in your health life. This could be as well. A little bit more about, Venus being in Aquarius, about more spending, maybe more selflessly. And in doing that, perhaps incorporating that into your daily routine, or even maybe purchasing maybe some kind of high-tech, very innovative, maybe fitness equipment, something very computerized and electronic. So anyway, and also, if you are unattached, Virgo, this could be a time too. We're talking about Venus and Aquarius in the 6th house. You might find perhaps somebody that might be a potential significant other, that might be a sun, moon, or ascendant in Aquarius, or somebody that simply embodies those characteristics. It could be somebody in your daily routine, your work, employment life, maybe somebody you provide some kind of service to. And it could also just maybe be somebody that figures prominently in your health life, somebody that maybe you know at a fitness place, for example. So anyway, next thing up is Venus will be in Pisces as far as February goes, from the 10th until the 28th. So the 7th house will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. So at this time for Virgo, this could be about perhaps expressing a love of fantasy, a love of photography even, or anything Pisces-like, such as the metaphysical, which can include astrology, and doing so perhaps with others in general, and maybe especially a significant other if you do have one. This could also be, in some cases, about maybe, Pisces energy can be surrendering, and Venus is about money. It could be surrendering finances, so to speak, maybe to some kind of court battle you might be embroiled in, or it could be to a significant other. Venus in Pisces energy is generally not one that's going to be materialistic. It's one that's really about not really emphasizing things of a monetary nature. It could also be during this time that, just remember that Venus in Pisces could be deceptive energy regarding money. So as I talked about before in another example, this could be really, if you're in some battle, in court battle, and the opponent in the court battle is basically perceived as an open adversary or open enemy, just be very careful if you're trying to do any deals with this person that might, such as an out-of-court settlement, because this is an easier time to maybe get bamboozled on a financial level, and also dealing with people in the law, such as attorneys. And if you're in a court situation and you're dealing with attorneys right now, be especially prudent at this time, that you're not dealing with some corrupt attorney that just promising more than they can deliver and just trying to get money from you and not following up on what he or she says. So anyway, next thing up is, Mars will be in Sagittarius still, so the 4th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. So at this time, first off is the situation on the home front and with family members and in the home, people you may feel at home with, so to speak, might be a little bit more contentious and acrimonious than usual. There might be philosophical differences with these people, maybe differences over religion, and even something that might seem somewhat frivolous or trivial, such as sports. At the same time, you might be able to use maybe this energy, maybe with family members, the people that are prominent in your home life, maybe doing some outdoor activities with them, or sports, and taking maybe anger out that way, and expending energy and vitality by doing maybe something sports related with these people, or doing something sports related that you simply feel at home with. There might be a lot of enthusiastic and exuberant energy injected maybe into perhaps ancestry, maybe finding out about your roots, and really a lot of that energy into your traditions as well at this time. So anyway, next thing up is Jupiter will still be in Scorpio, so the 3rd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo at this time. So keep in mind, as I've talked about previously, that Jupiter can be a little bit paradoxical. It's really very benign and benevolent, but it could also be about expanding, and it can, in this case, it can enlarge perhaps surreptitious or maybe even nefarious behavior in your neighborhood with neighbors, and maybe even with siblings in some cases, if you do have any. This is also, I mean, on the positive end though of this could be about maybe luck through and fortune through maybe transformation of something third house related, such as maybe a vehicle, something that's associated with local transportation, like your car, for example, if you do have one, or some vehicle. It could also be about maybe recycling in your neighborhood, perhaps, or with neighbors or with siblings. Those are some things to look at. It could also be really injecting a lot of exuberant and enthusiastic energy in really in third house matters, and in doing so with a lot of that Scorpio-like emotional intensity. So anyway, and really this could expand communications of maybe a Scorpio-like nature, such as astrology, supernatural, occult, magic, alchemy, those kind of communications, even talking about making major changes or making a major transformation. Those could be very that kind of communication can be very expanded at this time. So anyway, next thing up is Saturn will still be in Capricorn, so the 5th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. So at this time for Virgo, well, this could be, Virgo might experience really certain restrictions and limitations, perhaps in their love life at this time, and with children, perhaps, and even with their hobbies and enjoyment, which could perhaps cause some of that Capricorn-like despondency and feeling melancholy. Also, this could be perhaps about maybe taking care of maybe a debilitated lover, or maybe a child at this time, or somebody that figures in when you share a hobby with, something connected with enjoyment. This could be where you might be taking care of somebody that might be one of those people that they might be debilitating. You might wind up having to take care of them. And this could cause that Capricorn-like despondency and feeling melancholy as well. It could be about something Capricorn related, such as something with maybe the knees, or something with the bones, perhaps, or even so. Those are some things to look at. And really there could be some sorrow and maybe sadness associated with 5th house matters. It could be something with a love relationship with a child, perhaps. It could be maybe some sadness connected with some kind of hobby that you were involved in or are involved in, and maybe even connected with gambling. It might be time to take responsibility for those issues. So anyway, next thing up is Uranus will be in Aries still. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. So at this time for Virgo, well, on the negative side, there can be maybe some unusual activity going on in some kind of shared resources, or with a credit card account you might have. You really need to be careful at this time, Virgo. In some isolated cases, I know people don't want me using the dreaded D word, but when I'm talking about the 8th house, I mean, many instances I will, and this is no exception. It can be an unusual death in some cases, or some kind of electrocution. I mean, Uranus does rule electricity. So at the same time, this could be about making some kind of unique or unusual transformation, maybe doing so with the Uranus-like subjects, such as maybe such as astrology, perhaps, and making one really, it could be too, it might be where you're expressing maybe some kind of uniqueness or originality over 8th house matters, such as the subject of psychology, psychiatry, occult, supernatural subjects, which can include astrology. So anyway, and also it might be about making just a simple, just basically where you're looking at, I mean, you're talking about Uranus, and you're talking about as far as the 8th house, and it could be too that maybe something computer related, or just being on the internet more might play a role in some major transformation that you may go through at this time. So anyway, next thing up is Neptune will still be in Pisces, so the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. At this time for Virgo, there could be more difficulty in deciphering the character composition of others, so to speak. This could also be, I mean, looking at Neptune, you're talking about the 7th house. Be very wary about maybe a deceptive significant other at this time. At the same time, one might, if one is interested in the metaphysical, which can include astrology, one might be more apt to become maybe a public speaker, maybe on that subject, perhaps, or on spirituality, even something that could be Neptune related. And also be wary too that there might be a little greater propensity to attract people that are strongly involved in drugs and or alcohol at this time than usual. And also, open adversaries might be more unclear, nebulous than usual. It might be hard. You might have difficulty in differentiating between open friends and open foes at this time. So it's something to look at as far as this goes. Now, next thing up is Pluto will still be in Capricorn, so the 5th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. So at this time for Virgo, well, I know we're going to go to the dreaded D word again. The thing about it is, in some isolated cases, this could be the death, perhaps, of a child, or it could be the death of somebody that you might be in a romantic relationship with, somebody you may share some kind of hobby with. Also, at the same time, this could be about maybe making some kind of transformation through a love as far as your love life goes. I mean, remember that Pluto can often obliterate and destroy, but because Pluto is also about rebirth and regeneration, it could supplant something that's lost. It's interesting. I actually have Pluto in the 5th house in my natal chart, and to be honest with you, I've said it before in some videos, but for those of you that are maybe first watching my videos and haven't heard this before, I mean, I have no children, and I have my sun sign is in Cancer, and it's the sign of life-giving and procreation. So go figure. But I think the Pluto in the 5th has something to do with this, and sometimes this might, in some cases, maybe destroy. I mean, for female, it could destroy maybe an ability to have children in some isolated cases, or what this does is it could obliterate any maybe wanting for them or circumstances such where one chooses not maybe to have children. So those are some things to look at as far as this goes, and also be very wary at this time that in some cases this could be about maybe becoming like maybe some kind of compulsive gambler, or somebody that becomes obsessed with things of a speculative nature that could be to their detriment, such as gambling. So anyway, next thing up is the North Node will still be in Leo. So the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. So at this time for Virgo, this could be about maybe, I mean, when you look at the North Node in transit, it's often about what issues we have to confront. So it could be about maybe extravagance in a private life, or maybe where we have to be more extravagant over private matters. And also it could be about really being taking magnanimous actions, maybe for those that are less fortunate than ourselves, such as the oppressed, the impoverished, the homeless, and the hungry, and really in showing generosity perhaps in those areas. And also too, about maybe taking more pride and dignity in our private life, in one's private life, whoever is having this happen. I think too, looking at this at the same time, this could be about really maybe confronting one's limitations and restrictions, and doing so with a lot of that Leo of fortitude and courage. So, and also too, this could be, I mean, you're talking about the North Node in Leo and the 12th house. This could be about maybe using that, again, that Leo fortitude and courage, and using also that Leo-like confidence and self-assuredness to try to weed out people that may be their hidden adversaries, people that might be posing as friends or allies but really aren't. So anyway, next thing up is the Black Moon Lilith will still be in Capricorn, so the 5th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. So at this time for Virgo, well, this could be perhaps an unveiling of maybe a child or somebody that they're in a romantic relationship with that might be showing some ruthless and even tyrannical qualities, over-ambitious qualities, just thinking me, and that's pretty much it, and doing whatever it takes for them to attain their ambitions at all costs practically. And in some cases too, I mean, the Black Moon Lilith, and when you're talking about trends and could be about, what could put us in that real strong state of fright and trepidation. It could be maybe being restricted or limited, since we're talking about Capricorn energy, perhaps being restricted or limited, perhaps in some kind of gambling, or maybe even in the enjoyment in life, in some kind of hobby or love situation, perhaps. And also too, I mean, the Black Moon Lilith could be about maybe a formidable adversary that comes out. And in some cases, this could actually be a Capricorn Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or it can simply be somebody that embodies those characteristics. And we're talking about the fifth house. This could be a person that could be somebody that Virgo's in a love romantic relationship with. It could be a child. It could be somebody that maybe they were involved in a hobby, it was some kind of shared hobby with. Maybe somebody that they've been involved with gambling with. So anyway, those are some things to look at as far as that goes. Now, last but not least, Chiron will still be in Pisces. So the seventh house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Virgo. So at this time for Virgo, there could be some sorrows and maybe some emotional wounds connected, maybe with gullibility associated, maybe in whether it's a legal situation, or it could be with others in general, or with a significant other. And really, this could also be about too. You look at Chiron and Pisces in the seventh house. This could be about dealing with maybe some emotional wounds and suffering, perhaps, and maybe connected with delusion. And confusion as well, maybe dealing with confounding situations with the significant other, with others in general, and just dealing with deception in those areas. In some cases too, this could be about a significant other, perhaps if applicable, that might be going through some Pisces-like things. It might be maybe some literal wounds. It could be associated, something with the feet, or the toes, or the lymphatic system, or going through some kind of situation, being involved with recreational drugs or alcohol. And Virgo might be doing some suffering because of this. It could also be about maybe not seeing the fine print in documents as well. And Virgo might really feel duped because of this and going through some emotional suffering and feeling devastated due to this. But at the same time, keep in mind that Chiron is the wounded healer. So, I mean, in areas where one might be going through some suffering because of whatever is connected with Chiron and then the sign, the house placement, or what have you, they could actually help others that are going through a comparable situation, and they could do so perhaps with that Pisces-like empathy, compassion, and self-sacrifice. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Virgo February 2018 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be giving you my Libra February 2018 horoscope forecast. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.